Morning students, today we are going to start with a new lesson, that is Glimpses of India. There are three parts. The first part we are going to learn today, that is a baker from Goa. It is written by Lucio Rodriguez. He was a Konkani essayist. He was born in 1916 and died in 1973. In this lesson, he is giving a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker. It is about a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in its society. So, you all know in those days Goa was occupied by whom? By the Portuguese. Let us begin. So, before that you have few questions to answer. What images of people and places come to your mind when you think of our country? So, when you think of our country, which are the places come to our mind? So, you have to think and you have to write. What parts of India have you lived in or visited? Can you name some popular tourist destinations? Third question, you may know that apart from the British, the Dutch and the French, the Portuguese have also played a part in the history of our country. Can you say which parts of India show French and Portuguese influences? These are the things you have to find out. Can you say which parts of India grow tea and coffee? That you all know it. Next, let us begin the lesson. A baker from Goa. Who is a baker? Who bakes cakes, bread, isn't it? Biscuits. This is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in his society. Let us begin. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days. Our elders are often heard reminiscing. Reminiscing means thinking of the past. Nostalgically means they are thinking very fondly of the past. Those things they are missing now, isn't it? About those good old Portuguese days. When the Portuguese were there, how those good days were. That these are the things comes to the mind of the old people. The Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Loaves of bread means piece of bread. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. Eaters of loaves might have vanished. Those days are gone by. So, eating those breads, the people who used to eat those breads, pieces of bread are vanished, disappeared, but the makers are still there. That means the people who used to make or bake bread are still there in Goa. We still have amongst us the mixers, the molders and those who bake the loaves. Yes, we have among us, we have different people are saying they are mixers also, they are the person who molders are also there, and the bakers are also there. Those age old time tested furnaces still exist. That means that old furnaces are still you can find in where? Still there in Goa. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. Still the fire is there in the furnaces means still the Goans used to bake what? Bread. The thud. Thud means the sound of something falling on the ground. And the jingle you all know, jingle bell we say, isn't it? That is the sound of bell. The jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo heralding his arrival in the morning. Heralding means announcing. So, still you can heard what the sound and the jingle, the bells. Traditional baker's bamboo. The bakers use the bamboo in order to make the sound of the bell. And still you can see for what purpose they used to ring that bell? In order to announce his arrival. Yes, we are coming. The bakers of bread are coming. Can still be heard in some places. Still, if you go to visit Goa, you can hear the bell of the whom? The bakers. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. You must be thinking in those days, yeah, the parents are all gone, but the hereditarily, you can say in hereditary, that means they still the old baker's son are still doing the same profession. These bakers are even today known as padder in Goa. So, the bakers are known as what? Which name was given to the bakers in Goa? Padder. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion and guide. So, the poet is saying that when he was a small child in Goa, bakers used to be their friend also, guide also and companion also. He used to come at least twice a day. Twice a day he used to visit their houses. Once when he set out in the morning on his selling round, then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. Twice he visits. The first visit he used to sell the bread and the second visit he used to come. For what purpose? The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? When we hear in the morning the bell of the baker, we used to get up and we used to rush to him. Do you know why it was so? Was it for the love of the loaf? Do you think that we are all very fond of the piece of bread? Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Paskin or Bastain, the maidservant of the house. The bread is to be purchased by whom? Purchased by the maid servants. It is not we people. The children, we don't purchase the bread. Who is to purchase? The maid servant. But what we long for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. So, for what purpose they used to run to the baker? They were attracted by the bread bangles. What is bread bangles? Round bunches of bread like bangles. The round bunches of bread, it is compared to what? Like bangles, which we chose carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. So, when they cut the bread, so the small pieces will be remaining. So, some of them are part of sweet bread of special make. The maker made his musical entry on the scene with the jack jack sound of his specially made bamboo staff. So, what he used? He used the bamboo in order to make the sound. On one hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. What he used to do? One hand, he is supporting the basket. He is carrying the bread in a basket and he used to support with one hand the basket and the other hand what he used to do? The bamboo he used to keep, the vertical bamboo. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke. Rebuke means an expression of disapproval, a scolding. He used to push the children away. Why? Because and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. Then the bread used to be delivered to the servant of the house. But we would not give up. But we won't leave the baker. We would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket. Then what we used to do? He is not allowing us to see the basket. So, what these children used to do? They used to climb a bench or the parapet on the terrace and they used to peep through the see the basket. They wanted to peep into the basket. Somehow, I can still recall, I can still remember what the typical fragrance of those loaves. So, I am still remembering the smell of those bread pieces. Loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children and small ring type bread piece will be available. So, that big pieces will be for the elders and those small bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. So, they are not bothered about whether brushing the teeth or washing the mouths. And why should we? Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? So, in those days what they use for brushing the teeth? Mango leaves. And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. The author is not at all bothered about even brushing the teeth, and he is comparing it to the children to whom? To the tigers. He is saying that the tiger never brushed his teeth. Hot tea would wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. So, they are not even bothered to brush their teeth before eating the bread loaves, isn't it? So, what is the reason he is saying? Because tigers never brush their teeth. And why should we wash the mouth? Because they are drinking what also? Hot tea. So, he is saying that Hoti would wash and clean up everything very nicely after all. Clear? Marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread known as bowl. Bowl is a sweet bread. So, what is he saying? In marriages, in all the marriages, what is to be present? The sweet bread used to be present. So, marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread known as bowl, just as a party of a feast loses its charm without bread. Even all the parties, what is to be there? The bread is to be there. Not enough can be said to show how important a baker can be for a village. So, did you understand? So, actually what the author wanted to tell us? The author wanted to tell us that the importance of whom? The importance of a baker in a village. So, the marriage cannot take place without the what? Without a bread. Even no parties is to be taken place without a piece of bread. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. So, engagement, you all know, before the marriage the engagement is to be arranged. So, all housewife has to make what? Sandwiches for the engagement. Cakes and bolinhas are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Even in the Christmas parties also, what is necessary? Cakes are necessary, and another Swedish, that is bolinhas. So, these all things is to be made by whom? By a baker. Thus, the presence of baker's furnace in the village is absolutely essential. So, why did the author say about all these things? Because he is saying that for the marriage, what is necessary? Bread is necessary. Parties, bread is necessary. Then he is saying that even the Christmas functions, it is necessary. Any engagement function, the bread is necessary. So that you could make out how important the presence of whom in a village? The baker in a village. The baker or bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as kabi. What type of dress they wear? It is known as kabai. It has a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees. Nothing else, only the frock type. It is up to what? Up to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and trousers which were shorter than full length once and longer than half pants. So, he is again explaining in details. So, what type of dress in those days, that is the author's days, the bakers used to wear. So, they used to wear a long shirt and the trousers, but trousers which were shorter than full length ones. Now, it is not a long lengthy trousers, and it is little longer than half pants, like you people used to wear the 3/4, isn't it? Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a padder. So, if anybody is wearing the 3/4 in the Goa, people is to call him as what? Padder, because it is the whose dress? The padder's dress. Who is the padder? Padder is a baker. The baker usually collected his bills at the end of the month. Every month he used to come, like we people used to give money to the milkman, isn't it? Same way, this baker used to come and collect the money every month end. Monthly accounts used to be recorded on some wall in pencil. It is not nowadays people used to mark it in the diary and keep. In those days, where do they write the calculations? On the wall. How baking was indeed a profitable profession in the old days. The baker and his family never stopped. Baker and his family never stopped. That means they have sufficient money for their living. His family and his servant always look happy and prosperous. Their plump physique was an open testimony to this. Open testimony means plump physique is very fat body. Open testimony means public statement about a character or quality. So, when you look at the baker and his family, you could make out, because they always appear very plump, very fat. That shows what? They have sufficient food. And even today, any person with a jackfruit like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. So, again he wanted to tell you in detail about the baker. How do the baker look? The baker look little fat, and he has what also? What type of appearance? He is to be like compared to a jackfruit like physical appearance. That means that person can be termed as whom? as a baker. This is the end of this lesson. I hope you understand. Students, now we are going to do with the workbook, that is first unit, a letter to God. I hope all of you have opened the workbook. The first exercise is the summary of the story is given in a jumble form. So you have to arrange it in the correct order. I hope you all of you can do it. The letter to God we have already learned. So the first one will be, which is the first one, which can be the first one. You just go through the lines. Lengo, his wife and their children lived in a lonely house in a valley. That is the first one. And the second one will be their cornfield was longing for water. The third one is Lengo predicted it will rain and it did. He and his wife were happy. Fourth one, but it rained heavily and hailstorm thrashed his cornfield and all the corn was destroyed. Then the fifth one, he wrote a letter to God asking for 100 pesos to sow his field again and to survive until the next crop came up. He immediately went to the counter and asked for a pen and paper, wrote a few lines and posted the letter. So there the few lines are there. He wrote to God on the envelope and posted it. Isn't it? Then the seventh one, the postman and the postmaster laughed at Lengo's letter but were surprised by the faith of the man. Then eighth one, the postmaster collected about 70 pesos from his colleagues and sent it to Lengo. Ninth one, after some days, Lengo went to the post office to receive the money as the postmaster watched him. 10th one, he opened a letter and was happy to find the money. He counted and found it. It was only 70 pesos. 11th one, when the postmaster opened the letter, it said, "Oh, thanks for sending the money." I hope you had seen that line. These are actually the main ones. There are two lines extra there. That is, Lengo felt desperate but believed that God would help him. So after that sixth one, you can add that. Clear? The next one is that you can do it yourself. I just randomly said. The next exercise is create a graphic description based on the given summary of a letter to God. Lengo in his cornfield. So you can add more lines in this. B is what? Second one, Lengo's cornfield thrashed by the hailstorm. That is the second part of the story. You can elaborate it, how the cornfield was thrashed by the hailstorm and what other things happened. So you have to fill it in the complete. First line I said, Lengo's cornfield thrashed by the hailstorm. So it is not possible for us to dictate everything. The next C. C is the third step. Lengo writes a letter to God for help. Then you have to write how he went to post office, there, all those things you can add in that passage. D. Lengo calls the people at the post office as a bunch of crooks. That why did he call the people or post office people as crooks? You know it. So that portion you have to write in the D section. Now you take the next page. That is the reading comprehension. All of you must read it and I'll just tell you the answers. So before the class you have to read. I'll give you the message to read it and just see the answers you had written. One now next unit onwards, all comprehension passage you have to do it yourself. Once there was a tailor who was known for cheating and thievery. That is page number 5. First fill in the blanks. First answer is cheating and thievery. He could cheat anyone with his cunning way of deceiving people. A trader challenged that the tailor would not be able to cheat him. He went. You have to write the correct form of the verb given. Actually not the correct, actually hint is given in the bracket. So he went to the tailor. Then next blank. You have to write with a piece of satin cloth under his arm. Next page, that is page number 6. The tailor sprang up from his feet and welcomed him. The trader was pleased by the tailor's praise. He told the tailor to make a coat for him. The tailor praised the trader exceedingly. The trader was overjoyed. The tailor went on recounting funny tales, and the trader forgot all about the bet. The tailor started snipping with his scissors rapidly and hiding them under his thighs. The eyes of the trader were filled with tears and joy. And yet, the trader kept on asking for more stories. At last, the tailor told the trader that if he told one more story, the coat would be too tight for him and he would stop laughing and he would stop laughing and weeping and weep tears of blood. He would stop laughing and weep tears of blood. That is the first comprehension answers. Next, vocabulary based answers. In the story, you have come across a word light fingered, which means inclined to steal things. Some other words are given below. Use the appropriate words and fill in the blanks. The first one, the dash is a unit. First one is the light year. Second one, the farmer bought a light duty truck. Third one, we had a fairly light-headed discussion. Fourth one, Rita felt dizzy and light-hearted after skydiving. Next, fifth one, he is a sleeper. A slightest noise wakes him. Next, you have grammar, that is in page number 7. You have come across relative clause in the lesson, a letter to God. That is done. That is, which are the relative clauses? Who, which, what. These are the relative clauses. So we learned actually which describes. If it is describing a person, then it will be who. If it is describing a thing, then it will be which. Here the example is given. A tailor is a person who stitches clothes. A dictionary is a book which contains meaning of words. Next one. The book is about a scientist who won the Nobel Prize. What is the name of the player who hit a century? I don't like people who tell lies. What is the name of the actor who won the Best Actor award this year? Students who need to fill in the application should meet the principal in her office. Friends of the trader thought the tailor who stitches clothes and can cheat anyone. Lengo, who is faithful, thought God would help him. Those who believe in hard work will succeed. God helps those who help themselves. Now editing, you write the answers because we cannot do. The next onwards you will be doing it as homework. The first one, thank you for sending 100 pesos. Sending me 100 pesos help. Clear? Second line, I am very obliged for this kind gesture. Third one, you were my only hope and your help has increased, flourished also we can write, my faith in you. This money will help me until the next crop. And I promise to work hard in future. Sincerely yours, Lenko. Next is the listening task that we cannot do now. Next, speaking and writing is there. You have to write qualities. That means character sketch of Lenko, and you have to write. That is also, you just leave it. Next one, character sketch of Lenko and the tailor. You just leave that exercise. Writing a portrait or description of a person. That you take, that is very easy. There you have to write a paragraph. That actually it is a paragraph writing. You have to do it by yourself. The first one you can see in the first paragraph. It is given all about whom, all about Ravi. Ravi is a portrait or a picture of a handsome young man in full sleeves shirt. Did you see that? And then Ravi is an engineer in a manufacturing firm. He likes to make, fix and repair things. These are the description about whom is given. Description of Ravi is given. So how will you write the paragraph? You have to arrange. It is written description of any one of the above based on the details given. You may follow the process approach to writing. First you read the given information in the box. Then make a list of desirable adjectives. Points used for each person. You can say Ravi is a very handsome and a very charming personality, and he is well dressed and he is wearing full sleeve shirts. We can elaborate it using what? The adjectives. Clear? Then you have to write then secondly, then take the help of these points to develop an outlining sentence form. Thirdly, use the outline and prepare the first draft for the description of the person, then edit the draft. First you make the first you have to write the rough, and then you have to write the corrected. That is, you can edit it. That's what the third category. How will you write about Ravi is a handsome young man in his early 20s. I'll give you roughly. Then he is a mechanical engineer. You can write working for a multinational construction company. Ravi is a thorough professional. He observes all the formalities and requirements of his profession. While in the field, you can never see him in his casuals. He wears a helmet on his head and an overcoat over his full sleeve shirt. Ravi likes to make, fix and repair things. Actually, this is his professional work. He has an eye for details. That is about Ravi. Now I think you can write about Mohini. Mohini's details are also given. So you can do it as your homework. That the next exercise, you take the next page. That is project and all, you don't have to write. Then the process is, I hope you can do it. I think that was Mohini's work, isn't it? Then Mohini you can write about in detail. Same way we are written like whom? Like Ravi. Mohini is a very charming lady and she is always well dressed. She has long hair and all. Is it possible for you to write? So I hope you will understood that first portion, and that first project work is given. It is not necessary to do the project work. Clear? And the next class we will do the unit number 2. I hope you understood. Please make use of this class. Thank you.